Als je rouw durft te omarmen en je pijn de hand toereikt. Als verdriet niet meer je vijand, maar er ongestoord mag zijn. Als je kwetsbaarheid omhelst met de liefde als kompas. Blijkt de keerzijde van rouw. Leven, verbinding en kracht. Welkom bij de podcast van Annemiek Dogan. So nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
How can I call you? Shall I call you Dr. Eger? Shall I call you
Edie.
Edie? Okay,
Yes.
I will call you Edie. I will let everyone in, okay? So we can,
Good.
if you need anything, if you're tired, anything, please tell me, okay? It's all fine.
Okay.
I'm very pleased and honored that you're here.
I'm ready for your questions.
Super.
She's very honored to have you there.
Thank you. It's very mutual.
Yes.
I like your dimples.
Beautiful dimples.
Thank you, Iggy.
My assistant is Leonor. Look at you.
Jenner, okay.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Too. Nice to meet you too. I will do a short introduction in Dutch. Lieve mensen, zo fijn dat jullie er allemaal zijn. Dr. Edith Eger, I will call her Edie. Die is er helemaal klaar voor. Echt onwijs bijzonder, helemaal vanuit Amerika. Er is een vertaling aanwezig, dus als je moeite hebt om wat te verstaan in het Engels, kijk even in de chat, want daar wordt alles ook gelijk in het Engels vertaald. Dus nou, weet je, let's start. It's really it's an honor that you're here and that you want to spend an hour of your life with us. And I'm immensely grateful that you have shared your story and all your wisdom in your books. Otherwise, I would not have known about your existence and all your experiences. So echt thank you for that, Edie. You've already inspired millions of people with your story, and millions of people are added every year. Thank you for sharing your story. And today I will start to ask you questions. And if there is more besides the questions that you would like to share, feel free to do so. Okay, so please let me know. And yeah.
Good.
The first question, I've read it in your books that you couldn't talk about your experiences for a very long time, more than 30 years. How would your life be if you still couldn't talk about the grief in your life?
I think families are as sick as their secrets. I think that is one thing to really mention, that when you live in your secret will have you. And so it's what comes out of our bodies doesn't make us ill. What stays in there does. And I think my children knew that somehow their mother is almost not real. I kept my secret because I didn't want my children to be different. I just came to America to have a feeling of being a Yankee Doodle Dandy, as they say here. And I think that was a big mistake. I wouldn't do that today, but I didn't know any better. I just wanted to be sure that my children will not be treated differently. So my daughter was with a friend in school, and the lunch was white bread with mayonnaise and bologna. My child had a Kaiser roll with filet mignon and you name it, and she came home and she wanted to have the same sandwich that her friend has because she wanted to be real American.
The same as any other child. Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's very important important to know that immigrants' children are parentized. I think that's a good way to put it, because they take care of their parents. I never saw peanut butter in my life or tuna fish, and she taught me how to go to the grocery store and buy the Jiffy peanut butter.
And can you see how your experiences has affected your family and the next generation?
I think it affected by thinking that different means inferior, but that's not true at all. You don't want to be superior or inferior. We're human. We put in this world to have joy, love, and most of all, passion for life. And I'm full of it.
You are still full of it. Beautiful. And how are you nowadays? How are you today?
Today, particularly, I got a CT scan and I'm affected by it. I'm a little bit weak. So I'm going to do the best I can for you and letting you know that grief is all about life. All therapy is grief work, not what happened, but what didn't happen. The example I will give you that my granddaughter went to a school called the Bishop School in La Jolla, California. And I remember I bought her a beautiful dress to go there. And when I came home, I started to cry and I didn't know what is I'm crying all about. And I didn't cry because I bought Lindsay a dress. It came to me that I never went to a dance. So that's why it's very different to grieve when you're a male or a female. In America, men have a tendency, we used to call them Marlboro man. I don't know if you ever heard that. No. You know, a guy who sits on a horse and doesn't talk. Yup, nope. The girl will say 300 words and the boy says, nope, yes. And they mostly also remain silent. Women ask for help, women seek counseling if necessary, and they join a group as they do with you, and reach out for the family. It's very different reaction or responding. I think we are healthier. I know in a camp, I didn't cry. People asked me, how did I feel? I was void of feeling. I was numb.
You didn't feel.
I always asked, does anyone know that I'm here? I felt maybe I did something wrong and I was thrown out of the nest. So it's very important what you're doing, that grief is not an illness. I am on the faculty at UCSD Medical School with the Department of Psychiatry, and they do not medicate grief. It's not clinical depression. I think it's important not to generalize.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that you don't learn about it. And you didn't feel in the camp. You didn't feel. Was it also a kind of survival mode you're in?
I never even imagined that I'm not going to get out of here. It was the question when. And I would say if I survive today, then tomorrow I'm going to see my boyfriend, because he told me I have beautiful eyes and beautiful hands. So tomorrow was really with me.
The hope of freedom.
Hope. Never give up hope. I was lucky enough to speak to over 100,000 Ukrainians, and they never give up. And I talk about hope. How do you find hope in hopelessness? Because people tell me, I believe. I'm more interested what kind of life you lead. See, look at you. You are part of a grief group, that you are really
Doing something.
doing the work. In a Jewish tradition, there is something called a Shiva. And when someone dies, you sit Shiva. That means you take off your shoes, you cover your mirrors at home, and the Torah said that after 1 year, leave the dead alone. So you don't bring it up again. Just my definition of love is the ability to let go. Let go of the need for other people's approval. Let go of the word rejection. No one rejects you but you. Rejection is an English word that people make up to express a feeling when you don't get what you want. So give up the drama. It's all about your expectation, whether it's realistic or idealistic. If idealistic people don't find what they're looking for, they can become cynical. It's important. What is your expectation? When you expect less and you get more, it's a different expectation than expecting more and getting less. So you want to ask yourself, am I realistic or idealistic?
Yeah, it's very beautiful if you can see it in that way. And I can also imagine if you're through if you go to very hard times, that it's not easy.
But marriage is based on 40 expectations. You assign that person everything that you're looking for, kindness, and then you get disappointed. But it's not good to get discouraged. So it's okay to be disappointed as long as you don't lead it to discouragement. It's okay to be angry. You either vent the anger, suppress it, which I did, and I like to dissolve the anger, because anger is not a primary emotion. Underneath of anger is anxiety and most of all, a lot of fear. So it's good to write down all your fears, from the least anxiety producing to the most, and we can knock them down in no time. It doesn't need any years of therapy. Oh, you can recognize that you were not born with fear. You learned it.
Yeah, that's so true. We learned it. And if you talk about raising children, what's the best way to raise children, and what should every parent give their child?
Get rid of yes, but, and change it to yes, and. Don't tell your child you're beautiful, but you're pimply, and but you're fat, because then you cancel everything that you said before the but. So change it, yes, and. I hope that you're going to really lead a life of balance, working, loving, and playing. Balance. Nothing is good if it's overdone. Not to do anything in excess. So I think the best thing for children, especially for the father, to be the role model to the children, the way he is treating the children's mother. And that's you. Children don't do what we say, they do what they see. So the best thing for a child is a happy marriage.
Yeah.
So you have to give your husband 2 compliments a day. Don't say yes, but. Yes, and. I'm so happy to see you. One time, my student came to me and told me that in America, people are hearing but not listening. So I said, let's test it out. Tomorrow morning, when someone says, hello, you pick up your books, and this guy asks, how are you? And my student quietly said, my mother died this morning. Great, I'll see you later. Yes, people are hearing, but not listening. So I'm sure that compassionate listening is what you do. Don't ask, how are you? And don't say, why don't you? No questions and no advice. Just say, tell me more, because love is time, T-I-M-E, time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love is time.
And that's what we had in Auschwitz. And we were able to fight over Hungarian chicken paprikash and how much paprika you put in it, how many caraway seeds you put in a goulash. This kind of, we talked a lot about food because we were hungry all the time. Hungry for affection, hungry for attention, and also hungry for approval, that we're still human beings. The Jewish people were slaves. You know that? But when they were liberated, they found this guy called Moses, and they walked the desert, and they never gave up. I carried that blood, and I remember I never ever gave up. It was just a question, not why me, but what now? Live in a present. They could throw me in the gas chamber any minute. I had no control over that. When we took a shower, I didn't know whether gas or water is gonna come out. But they could never murder my spirit. So that's what I bring you today. Your spirit. When you suffer, your spirit grows. You become stronger. It's just not what happens, it's what you do with it. Everything is an opportunity. Auschwitz was an opportunity. And all we had was each other then, and all we have is each other now. So don't ask, how are you? And don't say, why don't you? No question and no advice. It's better to say, gee, it's good to see you. I missed you. Make a sentence.
And give compliments to your husband. Yeah? Beautiful. And your father... Please speak.
How old are the people in your group?
How old?
Average age.
Yeah, they are from 20 till 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going through the midlife. Don't say it's a crisis. It's a transition. You can't have any children, but who wants some anyway by then? You know, there is a post midlife time when you have more freedom and you can not go back but have a new beginning. So I think age is not as important. The most important is your attitude. The way you choose to respond, not react. When you react, you don't think. The best thing to read about it is called the Karate Kid. That the brain is the best. It's the best
of the mind.
Best wonderful way to use your brain to respond and not to react. Because when you react, you don't think. So read the Karate Kid and then you have a discussion.
Yes. So if you start to react, then you don't think. So you have to get a pause in it and let it get in your mind and then react.
You can just say the following: I don't like it. It's inconvenient, it's obnoxious, and it's temporary, and I can survive it. It's an and, not a but.
Exactly. So
yes, yes, but change it to yes. And I'm here. The question is not why me. The question is what now? The only thing you can change is the present. The past is gone. There's one thing you cannot change is the past. As I told you, my parents had tickets to come to America, never used it. So, you come up with I could have, I should have. It's gone. The past is.
Indeed. And indeed, that was also a question of mine. Your father had tickets to go to America, and until he's dead, he's talking about it's not as bad as they say. It will be all right in the end. And yeah, there's also, I can imagine it's also about kind of, you can be proud of your dad to have so much faith in humankind. And which emotion stuck the most with you?
You mentioned faith. People say, I believe, I believe. I just want to know how you get up in the morning and look at life as one day. The morning sunshine is gone. And then as you get older, you get smarter, wiser. It's not old and senile. I think everything is depending on your attitude. So instead of yes, but, you say yes, and I'm richer for it. I don't ask how are you, because people lie. They say fine when they're not.
Yes, that's so true.
Better to say, geez, good to see you, I missed you. Make a statement instead of a question. If your child maybe hits the brother, don't ask the child, why did you hit your brother? Because you're asking the child to lie. And the child would say, because he hit me first. And then you say to your child, don't lie to me. And I tell you, the mother, if you don't want your child to lie, don't ask why. Why is in the past? Why is a problem-oriented word? Ask what is going on and how we're going to go towards a solution. I like to call it really a goal that you have a way of setting up, not where you were, but where are you going.
Yeah, to the future.
It's called an arrow. An arrow. Because when I came to America from Germany to New York, at the English Channel, there was a big, big storm. So my ship skipper moved the ship. But then I noticed that he didn't go to China. He came back to go to New York. And I saw the Liberty, that beautiful, beautiful woman. And I told my daughter not to have her pacifier anymore, because American children are not allowed to suck. And I threw it in the ocean, which was the biggest unfortunate thing I've ever done. I took away her security. She forgave me, but I didn't forgive myself how could I be so stupid that I just wanted to assimilate and be like a Yankee Doodle Dandy. So don't try to be like other people. You are you, you're one of a kind. There'll never be an other you. You're unique, you're one of a kind. I think that's very exciting.
Yes. Yeah, you're the best in being you and I'm the best in being me. And that's, yeah. It's so beautiful if you can live like that, if you can feel it and show it to the world like you do also with all the things you do. And how can you express emotions like, for example, anger or sadness, if you have it, for people who passed away? How can you express those emotions?
I remember I was in a big city, I'm not going to tell you where people spoke with an accent. So I was studying then how to pick up and follow the way other people speak to you. And I also followed the accent. And I asked her, why is she with me? And the son told me that mother is 71 and she's still grieving because the mother died, but she was 16 and she can't forgive her mother for leaving her. And so she said all that to me in an accent. And then I said to her, because I only had 1 hour, I said to her, I want you to go to the cemetery and I want you to take off your shoes and make contact with your mother because your mother needs you. This is called reframing. So I told her what to do. And then I got letters from the children that the mother is back. I don't know what you did, Dr. Eger. We have a grandma again, and it was great. I just told her what to do, very seriously. 1 hour.
Wow. And so reframing.
I call it my Hungarian ostracism. It's in my book. I can send it to you. I have a new book out now, The Gift, and we added, my daughter and I, recipes.
Wow,
so
beautiful.
the gift,
Hungarian recipes or?
Hungarian recipe, but it has been a schnitzel, veal, yeah. Hungarians use veal paprikash, and Wiener Schnitzel. Veal is very well used. It's expensive too.
So about the reframing, so you said to the women, the woman said, okay, why left my mother me when I was 16 years old? And you said, well, reframe it, and say to your mother, you need me. How do you say? So how do you say that?
What the message?
I think the message is that it's easier to die than to live. I know I was very suicidal when I was in a hospital and my parents didn't come back. It's easier to die, but I know when God told me, if you die, you're not going to find out what happened. So it's better to be for something rather than being against, because if I would still fight with hate, I would still be a prisoner. So that's why forgiveness has nothing to do with me forgiving someone for what they did to me. It has to do with a gift that I give to myself to let go of the anxiety and hopefully turn it into excitement, concentrating on not what I lost, but what is left and what is here. Because my sister Magda was a pretty one. My mother told me, I'm glad you have brains because you have no looks. So I became a very erudite teenager. But my sister Magda was with me in Auschwitz, and we were all standing there naked. And my sister asked me, how do I look? Now that is important because I had a choice to pay attention to what she lost or concentrate on what she still has. And I remember I became her mirror and I told Magda, you have beautiful eyes, and I didn't see it when you had your hair all over the place. Even today she remembers that. She's 100 years old and she tells you she is 99. Hungarian women will cut some, always lie about their age, yes. I think when she came to America, she probably told them a year less than what she was. But I never ask. I just say thank you.
Oh, yes, indeed. Wow. It's also
Sisters,
sisterhood. Yeah.
I hope.
So beautiful and so special. You're on that age together. You're together with your sister. That must be, yeah, that must be a very grateful feeling for you.
The sad part about it is that we were in a line and this guy asked, is this your mother or is this your sister?
In Auschwitz.
And guess what I said?
Mm.
And then he pointed my mother to go to the left. And I followed my mother. And he came after me, grabbed me. I never forget those eyes. And he said, you're going to see your mother very soon. She's just going to take a shower, and promptly threw me on the other side, which meant life. So when I was interviewed by a couple, and the couple was a prisoner who was there a longer time, I said, when will I see my mother? She pointed at the chimney. And she said, she's burning there. You better talk about her in past tense. And my sister Magda hugged me and said, the spirit never dies. So when you're in a grief group, just to know the spirit is with me. And I know my mother would be proud of me that I get up in the morning and I do everything in my power to tell people what happens when good people do bad things.
Yes. Yeah.
Very bad things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
yes. And it's also what are the signs? You know, this can never happen again, right? We have to be aware of it.
Exactly.
And what are the signs we notice that something like this is starting to happening again? What should we as a society be aware of?
You know, anything that anyone from now on wants to say, you engage in self-dialogue and ask yourself, Is it necessary? Is it important? And most of all, is it kind? And if it's not kind, don't say it. I practice that when I go to the children. I ask myself, is it necessary? And usually I just take my hand and say something kind, or just become a compassionate listener. I'm sure that's what you are practicing. How can you turn anxiety into excitement? So you have to give up the need for other people's approval.
And if you're raising children that way, how can you set boundaries, and how can you tell them that in a kind way? How did you do that with your children?
I think the children, as I told you, don't do what we say. They do what they see. And the best thing for a child is a happy marriage. I hope you have one. And if you're not, just marry yourself.
Yeah,
Be a good mommy to you. Don't do anything in excess. Count your calories.
yes, true. Yes. And my last question, and it's a big question. If you can give the world one gift, what would it be?
The more choices we have, the less we feel like a victim. Get away from all or nothing mentality. And realize that man get different messages that we do. Men grieve differently. Men usually are silent. We women are reaching out for help. Men don't do that. I think men maybe become workaholics and they start working more. I don't know whether that's true, but they can easily do some addictive stuff. And hopefully it's not drinking. And I think women verbalize their emotions. I think it's very, very healthy to do that, to cry together. Crying is what comes out of your body. It doesn't make you ill. What stays in there does. Get counseling. I think it helps. It helps to get counseling where you can go through the grieving, feeling, and healing. That's the journey. And I'm sure you're a good listener and you say, tell me more, because love is time, T-I-M-E, time. And of course, you have a group. If not, you join a group. And this is the most wonderful family that you belong to. So you are having a whole family inside you. There is a little girl crying. I need a good mommy. And you show up and you say, I'm here. And I will never, ever leave you. Make the child feel wanted, because that child needs a good mommy and you show up for her. So I hope that anything you do, ask yourself, is it going to give me maybe 5 minutes of pleasure and but maybe years and years of maybe a bad habit? Alcohol is not good for the brain. But it's okay to have a glass of wine, right?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It also depends on the people, I think. If you can get one glass, if you can drink one glass, it's okay. If you know you can't stop, just don't get that glass.
Yes, as they say, everything in moderation.
True.
My son-in-law is a wine connoisseur. If you go to their home, you get the best of the best wine. So I don't drink, so he gives me this much.
You didn't drink your whole life?
I don't drink, I just want to be always in charge of my faculties.
And did you smoke or did you?
Pardon me?
Did you smoke also?
I used to smoke, yes. I used to smoke and I used to drink. And I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I now became a very compassionate listener. And I'm sure you are too. You listen. You really listen. And don't ask how are you and don't say why don't you. No questions and no advice.
Yeah.
And you ask, just tell me what works for you, what gives you a balance of working, loving, and playing. And I know my mother was grieving her mother, who died when she was 9 years old, and she was left taking care of her sister and brother. So the question I ask, actually 2 questions. When did your childhood end? Some children never were children. I know immigrants' children many times take care of the parents. The second question, and don't answer it, would you like to be married to you? Yeah, you're fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say yes.
You don't ask, how are you? Why don't you? No, you're just there, keeping company. Tell me more. Love is time, time. How many people are in your group?
There are in the grief family. It's very nice you said family because the name is also grief family. And there are now more than 200 people in it. And it's wonderful. They can listen audiobooks about grief, all kinds of grief. So not only through death, but also through dimension. Do I say that correct? Dimension, dementia.
I remember when I bought my granddaughter a dress, so she went to her dance. And when I came home, out of the blue, I was crying. And I didn't understand, what am I crying about? And I realized that I didn't cry because I bought Lindsay a dress so she can go to a dance. I cried because I never went to a dance. And I think many of us have unresolved grief. And that's what your group is all about.
Indeed.
Unfinished grief that belongs probably to your family of origin. So firstborn children are the Nobel Prize winners. The middle children are peacemakers. They want everybody get along, like Kissinger. And youngest children we call charming manipulators.
Well, my brother and sister are both listening, so okay.
I was the third child in my family. I was a charming manipulator. I would go ask father for money when he was playing billiards with his cronies, and I knew he was going to be always generous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I took advantage of that.
Yes.
I couldn't get away with that with my mother. I think women are wise, not smart, but wise.
Yes, true. Yeah, thank you so much for all your that you're here, that you spent the
So I am with you, and I want to support you by letting you know that no one ever will replace you. So self-love is self-care. It's not narcissistic. You're a wonderful interviewer.
Thank you so
And
much.
I wish you well. I see a ring on your finger.
Yes. I'm
Can you
married.
tell me
She's married. She's married.
you're married?
My husband is helping me. I will show him. He's there.
Oh, hello. Hello.
And he's the translator today, so he's translating everything in Dutch, so everyone can follow it.
I was in Amsterdam, and a beautiful ballerina was doing, I don't know if you were there or not, seeing the ballerina doing me and Dr. Mengele, and with another dancer who kept wanting to touch her, but it doesn't get to be getting the touch. It was a beautifully done ballet, and then she brought me beautiful flowers, and so I made memories in Amsterdam that I will never ever forget. And the Dutch people were hiding Jewish families, and one of those people died, and on her deathbed they asked her, how come that you were saving Jewish lives when you could have died getting caught? And she answered, my father told me that's the right thing to do. That's the kind of parents you have.
Indeed.
They do the right thing, giving you the opportunity to give to others. So I hope you will grow and grow and grow. And men and women also will get together so you can talk about the difference between the male grieving and the female grieving, because you can empower each other with your differences.
Yes, that's so important. So much couples divorced after a loss. So much. It's, yeah, That's true. You're so right. Mhm. Thank you so much, Edie.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
I wish you happy anniversary, and
Yeah.
you're the best model you can be to your children
Mm.
and grandchildren. I have 7 great grandsons. Let me see if I have a picture of my great grandsons.
I would love to see it.
You wanna bring me? It's on my desk. They are 2 years old now. They are beautiful. So I think that you are amazing, and you're the wonderful role model to us all.
Mm. Thank you
I
very
don't know. I don't know whether you are going back to school at all or your education. You can think about it, because when I talked to my husband and I told him I'm going to go get a PhD, and he told me he doesn't want to be introduced as Mr. and Doctor. And this is me with my great grandson.
Oh, so beautiful. It's our twins, isn't it?
Here they are.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah. And yes.
Oh, so sweet.
So I'm very, very happy to be part of your family.
Yes.
And you can just call me Grandma.
Team. I will do. Oh, thank you, Grandma. And when is
Go
your
and hug your husband.
She showed you her husband. She showed you her husband doing the
Oh,
translating.
yes. Ah, okay. Yes, yes. And when is your third book coming?
Third book.
Oh, it's. I'm hoping to write one for teenagers.
Wow.
Yes,
Beautiful.
I think it will be a good one. It's a very difficult time. You're no longer a child. You're not an adult. You need good role models, and I hope to be one. Stay in school.
Yes. Listen to your parents.
Don't run out. Yeah, yeah. Go to school and watch your time, because most teenagers spend only 10 minutes being 100% with the teacher.
Wow. Really?
Yes, I did the research.
Wow.
They think about what they're going to do after school, but wherever you are, be there 100%. Don't try to be in too many places at one time.
Yeah, then you can put life in your life. Then, yes, that's a very, very.
Structure your time. Structure your time.
Mhm.
And 24 hours, I think you can structure your time.
Indeed.
And when you go to bed with your husband, don't talk about anything and anyone who is not there. That's gossip.
Yes. That's gossip. Indeed. Yes.
Don't ask how was your day, nothing.
Yeah.
Just say it.
In the chat,
hope.
everyone is saying thank you, and everyone is so grateful that you are here. And I also see one question. Maybe we can do it as the last question. How can you help those who grieves about suicides?
I think when you are suicidal, and I was, because my parents didn't come back.
Mm.
I think you either have something what you don't want, or want something what you don't have. As simple as that. And I think grieving is therapy. All therapy about not what happened, but what didn't happen. So when I came back, seeing my granddaughter in the dress I bought, and I came home, I began to cry and I didn't understand.
You said that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember I said that, so I'm repeating myself. But I was crying because I never went to a dance, and that's what you're doing. You're going to take care of unresolved grief so you can be free.
Indeed. It's also about desire.
Freedom, when we were liberated, people were going through the gate. And after a while, they would come back and sit down. So you have to really read Dr. Seligman on unresolved grief, but also Mr. Staudacher. You want to write it down? Because that's the man who wrote about the difference between male and the female.
Mm.
So if you want to say it again.
Staudacher.
Staudacher, Staudacher.
Grief theory of
It's
retrieving.
It's called retreating, working through resolving.
I will search for it. That's nice.
Yep.
I will search for it and put it also. We've got a group also and an app. I will put it in so everyone can see it. Thank you for that. Yeah, nice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. From me and also from the whole family, from the whole group. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, and to you.
Enjoy every moment in life.
Yes, we will do. We will never ever forget this conversation. It's so special for me.
Me neither. I'm so glad, so honored, and I hope we'll maybe see you in person.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I would love to come to California. Yes.
Oh, that's where you'll find us.
No, indeed.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.